How's it going, everyone? Back with another 900 manual swap video. Today we're going to be doing some work to get the engine ready to go back in the car, as well as fixing a couple of mistakes or things that we forgot to do earlier about a month ago when we mated the manual transmission to the engine. If you guys are new to this series or the channel, you might not know that I am currently in the process of manual swapping my 1988 Saab 900 Turbo. So in the last video, what we went ahead and did was fit some of the manual parts back into the car, meaning the clutch pedal is now installed. For now, I'm going to leave the interior looking like this. The shifter linkage part of this job is going to be easier once the engine is installed back in the car, so we'll be doing that in a future video after the engine is back in. But like I said, today I want to do a few things to kind of get the engine a little bit more prepared to go back into the car. One thing I want to do is just kind of take a look around real quick, make sure there's nothing crazy kind of going on that I haven't seen already in terms of leaks or anything that just looks weird. Second off, I want to do an oil change, and by oil change I pretty much mean I just want to put a new oil filter on, because I'll do I'll fill it with fluids, I should say, once it's back in the car. Thirdly, I have some vacuum lines. I need to see which ones exactly I need to replace, but some of these vacuum lines are very, very old and brittle. A lot of them have actually been replaced now that I'm looking at them more, but some of them are, if I pull on them too hard, they're very stiff and they're going to break, whereas these, you can see, are much newer and still have some play in them. So I might be replacing some vacuum line. I have a bunch of spare vacuum line in this box here. After that, I still have one more oil leak to repair. That's on the crank right here. This crank seal back here is leaking really, really badly. I'm going to be waiting to do that until I have a couple buddies here, because I can't do this myself. We struggled for about an hour trying to get this bolt off a little while back and couldn't do it. So I've been soaking it in PB Blaster every night all week and hoping that when we do try it again, it won't give us so much trouble trying to get it off. Lastly, a couple things we need to do to ensure it doesn't leak once it goes back in the car are: one, put thread locker on the flywheel bolts. I didn't do that at first, and we obviously made a mistake. We should have done that. And then lastly, there are also some bolts that connect the transmission to the engine that need to have thread locker or gasket maker or something on them to prevent those from leaking. So we're going to do that as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. And I'm gonna go ahead and start by pulling off the top half of this motor mount that didn't come off. I was a little bit worried this would be on here really tight, but actually was not at all. So thank you, previous owner, or whoever did an oil change last, for making that easy. This is, oddly enough, the same oil filter that early and mid-2000s Ford Focuses use. Next, I want to tackle putting gasket maker on these bolts between the transmission and engine that need them. So looking at the Bentley manual here, you can see there are 6 bolts that require it, and they're pretty much every bolt along the side, the side that has the exhaust on it, needs it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to work on that. So the book calls for 5 of the 7 bolts here to have thread locker on them. So it specifically says thread locker, so I'm actually gonna use thread locker instead of this gasket maker. And it also calls for what I'm 99% sure is this nut that goes on that stud right back there. Not sure why, but I'm gonna do it just to be safe. So time to put thread locker on all this and put them back in. Loctite has been put on all the bolts that need it and a couple extra just to be safe. So I went ahead and spent the last few minutes kind of looking around with my untrained, not expert eye, trying to see anything on here that might look bad, that might need to be replaced. And really the only thing I can see, I even, checked turbo, or checked the turbo, I should say. It's hard to tell, but there's no play. All the teeth, obviously I don't want to stick my finger in here too much, but none of the teeth have any wear on them. There's a little bit of a better view of that right there. So turbo looks great. Now, when I came over to the vacuum lines, like I said, a lot of these vacuum lines seem decent, like they've probably been replaced at some point. However, the one that I did find that's pretty bad is this whole just connection. That one of these is for the bypass valve. It comes down here, it goes into a T, and there's a little hard piece off of here that's as stiff as it can be. This little piece also, you can just see how stiff these are. It comes up all the way up here. And this piece right here, I feel like if I put a little more pressure on it, it will pop off. So I think this whole connection I'm gonna replace. Good news is I also do have some old T connectors. I think I bought these when I did something on the 9.3 a long time ago, just a variety pack with a bunch of different sizes. This size will work well with the spare vacuum line right here. So you can see this is a lot thicker. The inner diameter is the same, but the outer diameter, obviously a lot thicker. So I'm gonna go ahead, take a couple of pictures of this so I know exactly how it goes, and then I'll pull it all off, measure stuff, and we'll cut it. This is so brittle, oh my goodness. This one also has just some sort of I don't think it's a check valve, I think it's just some connector piece. We'll look into that more in a second though. There we go, wasn't too bad to remove all that. We can go ahead and reinstall this on the car. One thing I wanted to mention though is part of me really wanted to do every single vacuum line on the car and do it in red or blue or something cool. Maybe down the road I will, but for now I just wanted to fix. I mean, these weren't even broken, but they're just, you can see how brittle they are. Oh, it's not gonna break. I was hoping it would break on me. But it's all dry rotted and everything, so this probably need to be replaced. One other vacuum related item I wanted to address was this check valve here. You can see that the vacuum line that's on it isn't on there the whole way. No matter what I do, I can't get it to go the whole way on. So I'm just gonna replace that as well. This line isn't super brittle. You can see it's still got some flexibility in it, but I guess it wouldn't hurt to replace it as well. Definitely a tight fit on here as well. But it's at least going on the whole way like it should. If this was any harder to get on, I'd probably try and use Vaseline or something, but it'll go on there with enough effort. There we go. Sweet.
Day 2.
Way we can just ensure. It's so interesting how it has several belts.
I know, it's freaking weird, dude. Oh yeah.
Having the right tools makes the job so easy.
Sweet. Hey.
Man.
The seal came out too?
No.
Look at that.
The seal is attached.
We didn't even need this.
The seal was.
I've never seen this.
So
That's water.
we had to go up to AutoZone to rent one of the gear puller tools, and then John recommended picking up one of these seal puller tools to get the seal out, but the seal came out with it. Pretty bad shape. But John observed. I need to tap on. Alright guys, so the crank seal was just reinstalled. A huge thank you to John for helping out with that. I'm just finishing up putting the belts on. I'm going to put some tension on this one down here. The AC belt we'll do once it's back in the car, since the compressor is still attached to the car. I did want to talk about over here. You do need a special tool to compress the clutch fins, I guess you'd call them. I'm sure there's a more technical term for that. So you can get the slave cylinder and all that out of the car and get the clutch out of the car so you can access the flywheel bolt. So I don't have any of that. I'd have to special order it from, the special Saab tool. There is probably some wire that you can also stick in there to make it work. I also do not have anything like that that'll work. So what we're gonna do is put it back in the car. If it does leak, then I'll take it back apart. Obviously this isn't a terrible job to do once it's in the car. It should only be a couple hours. So that's kind of where we're sitting with that, but the motor is all ready to go back on. You can see I also put the cover back on it here. I need to put the bolts in to actually hold it on. But yeah, guys, super excited. So next video, you'll see us putting it back in the car. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now in real time. But thank you guys all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.